Welcome everyone to the beginning of Chapter 3. Now, if you were not already in class, you need a Chapter 3 notebook. Now, this Chapter 3 notebook is Part 1. It's going to take us through Lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so make sure that if you were not at school, if you're quarantined, if you're absent, Chapter 3 notebooks can be up in the office. Send me an email, and I'll make sure that you get a Chapter 3 notebook. So today we are focusing on what is the rule. Believe it or not, rules govern this world, whether they are natural laws such as gravity, right? You can't defy gravity. What goes up must come down, of course, unless you're helium, but that's science stuff that's happening, okay? Those are laws of gravity. They govern how our world behaves. You have moral rules, right? The difference of right and wrong. You have money rules, like when you go to the gas station, you're going to pay a certain amount of money for every gallon that you purchase. Those are money rules. And today what we're doing is we are extending patterns and finding rules in a couple different situations. Now, in the top of your notebook, you have a piece of graph paper. Let's go ahead and add a piece of graph paper in right now. And what I want you to do is label your paper like so. In the upper left-hand corner, figure 1, figure 2, evenly spaced, please, figure 3, and figure 4. Okay? Then you're going to go about halfway down your paper and you're going to write figure 5. Then you're going to go halfway across and you're going to label figure 100. Okay, this is how I want you to space your problem out a little bit. Now, once you have your paper spaced like this, we're going to focus on these 3 figures, okay? We're going to break them down into parts. Now, the key to finding patterns is breaking down the parts appropriately. I want you to notice this diagonal section has 1, 2, 3. This diagonal section has 4. This diagonal section has 5. Now that's all about counting and breaking it down, but you also need to be able to connect it to the figure, because that's going to help you predict the future in a moment. So there's the diagonal section. If I look at the horizontal section, I've got 4. I have 6. I have 8. Now notice, I want you to copy down figure 2, 3, 4 in your notebook. And for the vertical section, we have 2, we have 3, and we have 4. So what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you have copied figure 2, 3, 4 down on your paper. Once you have figure 2, 3, and 4 done, work backwards. Draw figure 1. Then move forward and draw figure 5. Go ahead and pause the video while you do that. Okay, now that you have drawn figure 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, how do we do figure 100? Well, I'm just going to draw a generic shape. Let's get a couple on the diagonal here. Okay, now what you should have noticed in your pattern is that the height matches the figure number. So if the height matches the figure number, you know how tall the 100th figure is. The width, what is the relationship? What is the relationship on the diagonal? That is the key to knowing how to do the 100th figure. Now this generic 100th figure, all you need to do is label how tall, how wide, and how big the diagonal is. This is enough of an explanation for how we draw this. Go ahead and pause the video while you finish this drawing. All right. Now that was extending a pattern, thinking about rules when we're talking about tile patterns. But where we're going to focus the majority of today's work is focusing on tables. Now when you were in 6th grade, all of the tables were one step. They were either add or subtract. When you were in 7th grade, they were all proportional relationships, multiply and divide. Okay? That's how 6th grade and 7th grade were set up. Now that we're in 8th grade, we're going to do some that are a little bit more difficult. Here we go. Looks like the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. What happened in this table? I noticed that they skipped a letter. So our rule, they skipped a letter. Now, when I say fill in the table, what you need to do is you need to be able to go forward and backward, right? So I've got to go forward. L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. That's driving forward. I skipped the letter R and I landed on the letter S. But I also have to work backwards. A, B, C. So work backward, B, skip B, and I land on A. Okay? F. Go back to E, go back to D. Now these other two empty boxes are for you to fill in your own. You can pick any letter as long as you skip a letter and land on the correct letter. Okay? Problem letter B. What's the rule? Hot, cold. Up, down. What's the rule? Should have said opposites. Go ahead and fill in the table by doing opposites. Pause the video. Problem letter C. Now, I'm going to go ahead and shortcut these by saying these are defined by their corners or their sides. 3 corners, 3 sides. 5 corners, 5 sides. Okay, let's go down here. I see this is a 6 side, this is an 8 side. So what's the rule? What do you do to 3 to get to 5? Add 2. 2 corners, 2 sides. It's up to you. How do you see it? Do you see it in corners or do you see it in sides? So that means that a 5-sided shape turns into a 7-sided shape. 7. You can just put 7 gone. Technically, it's called that septagon. Septagon. This is a hexagon. Work your way back. Here's an octagon. Just write the number and then gone. That's acceptable. Okay. Go ahead and pause the video to fill in this table. All right. So these are all generic, finding the rules in whatever situation you have. How do we actually solve them mathematically? There are 2 strategies. Here's the first one. The first strategy is guess and check. Guess and check. So here we go. I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess you add 9. Nope. Oh, excuse me. 8 plus 9 is 17, yes. But 10 plus 9 is not 21. So this guess was wrong. So the next thing I'm going to do is, if it's not addition and subtraction, I'm going to go to multiplication and division. So I'm going to start by multiplying by 2. Start with 2. If 2 doesn't work, go to 3. Okay? So I'm going to multiply by 2. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. Let's check that. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21. Yes. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25. Yes. Got it. Okay. If you are doing these tables, please feel free to use a calculator to solve these problems. Now, I need to be able to use this rule driving forward. Negative 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1 is not addition, subtraction to get negative 3. That's driving forward. You use that rule, you apply it to the numbers. Now, for this box, if it gives you the output, which is the y, you have to work backwards. You have to use opposites to go backwards. So if I'm starting with 9, instead of adding 1, I'm going to subtract 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. Now instead of multiplying by 2, I'm going to divide by 2. So that would give me 4. Now notice I can go back and check going forward. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. Hooray, I got it right. The first strategy to do these problems is guess and check. Okay, so let's go ahead and you're going to do letter E on your own, guess and check, and I'll do letter F because guess and check. Add 12? No. Add 2? No. Multiply by 4? No, doesn't work here. Okay, what about this one? Multiply by negative 1 to get this one? No, that doesn't work. What if I gave you this? How about 5 and 25? How about 7 and 49? Did those help you see the rule? Hopefully they did. Go ahead and complete E and F. All right, you've completed E and F. Let's finish out today's work. The first strategy I gave you was guess and check. And that's a fine strategy, but is there a better way, Mr. McQueen? The answer is yes. See, something in mathematics that we need to know is that multiplication and division have no power over 0. No power over 0. Because if there is a multiply part of the rule or divide part of the rule, it doesn't affect 0. And there's only one way to get from 0 to negative 2. And that's subtract 2. So if I know that part of the rule is subtract 2, I can work backwards. The opposite, working backwards, add 2, that would give me 20. So what do you do to 10 times what is 20? Oh, multiply by 2, then subtract 2. Notice, negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 minus 10, rule checks out. Write down the rule. But the second strategy is honing in on 0. Because 0 tells you exactly what the add or subtract part of the rule is. If you know the add or subtract part of the rule, you can work your way and find the multiplication and division. Let's go ahead and look at letter C. I notice multiplication has no power over 0. So I'm going to go ahead and know that part of my rule and then add 1. There's only one way to get from 0 to 1. So let's work our way backwards. Instead of adding 1, I subtract 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Work my way backward. 101, take away 1 is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. Negative times negative is positive. So the rule here must be times itself. Then add 1. Okay? We need to use 0 to help us hone in on what the rule is. Now over here, I want you to look. I want you to look. I want you to look. And I'll go ahead and verify that this table is a proportional relationship. Now you are responsible to fill in A, B, and C. However, you are not responsible for D, E, or F. You do not need to do those 3. Okay? Because the practice that you are going to end up doing is in your review and preview. Thanks for tuning in today. Today we've talked about how to find a rule, extending patterns, looking at different types of patterns, defining them, filling in tables. Because guys, this world is governed by rules, and sometimes we need to discover a rule to help us understand what's happening. Thanks for tuning in. Please stay on top of your classwork and homework as we move forward together. See you guys next time.